What's up, everybody? Good to see y'all on here. What's going on? Hello, hello. So every single Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, we cover private money lending, the basics, the fundamentals, the foundations of private money lending. Why? Why do we do this? So that we can stay sharp, so that we can stay at the top of our game. We're constantly practicing our craft, whether you're a borrower and you're looking to learn how to work with people and not necessarily banks, or go the traditional route of funding a real estate deal, right? We're constantly working on what does that conversation look like? What is the paperwork process that we need, right? So I don't know anywhere else where you can just get together once a week and
When
talk
should I schedule it for?
talk about this specific topic like this. So this is brought to you by the Private Money Club. At the same time, my lenders, right? If you're on this call and you're like, man, I want to figure out a way to make a nice rate of return on my money, make some nice interest, but have it secured by something, not just anything, but an asset that's worth way more than the amount that I got in. You're in the right place. This is what we talk about, right? How to do this the right way. All right. So if you are logging on for the first time, welcome. We do this call every Thursday. If you are on here regularly, welcome back. It's the same time every time. Great question. Great question. I also got my man Nick Lucas in the chat. Nick is a part of the Private Money Club team. He's filling in for Jose today. So what's up, Nick? I've known Nick for a long time. We've been friends for a long time, and there's no one else I'd rather hop on these webinars with than Jose and Nick. So what's up, Nick? Good to see you in here. If you have any questions about anything that we cover or talk about, or I might say, hey, we've got this upcoming event going on, or hey, make sure you log on to this webinar. And it's easier for Nick to put everything in the chat box than it is for me. So if there's like something I reference, Nick will put it in the chat box on behalf of me in the Private Money Club, and he's there to answer any questions that you have. But let's get into this. Every single time that I teach a class, every single time I teach a webinar, do it every single Thursday at 1:05, you're gonna see this slide. And I love this slide. This slide is my favorite slide. Why? Because it keeps people rooted, right? So it's very easy to get the greed glands going and think, oh my gosh, private money lending, I can make 15% on my money. I can make 20%. I can make 12%, 10%, right? Oh my gosh, it's private money. I can use private money lenders to go out and buy houses, fix them up, sell them, and make large chunks of cash, right? Yeah, that's the optimism of it. That could be a person's result. Okay, but why are we on here educating and doing? Because we want to, our goal is to make sure that we're educating ourselves around the topic, right? And we're not just going out and funding deals without putting together a team, without understanding what we're doing, without any education, right? One of the big reasons why I started teaching this class is I actually had friends who lost money. Yes, they lost money, private money lending. And when they came to me seeking help or advice on trying to figure out if they had any remedy to that, I'd ask them, hey, did you get these documents here? Did you get this, this, and this? They said, no, I didn't think of that. I didn't know to do that. Or I might say, hey, did you ask the person these questions here? And they're like, no, I didn't even think to ask them about that. Right? And I'm like, well, what happened? What happened? Like, well, they were giving me 15% interest, a promissory note. I thought everything was good, and this person's on Facebook all the time making themselves look like a million bucks, like they know what they're doing. I just trusted them, right? I got caught up in just the interest rate. I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And this happens, unfortunately, all the time, right? So it's really important before you start lending and before you start borrowing that we start treating this like a business. We surround ourselves with the right business professionals. And I like to use this slide as a lesson. All right. I teach a class for Private Money Club. It's called the Quickstart coaching program. It's 4 weeks of Zoom calls and 4 weeks of support after the Zoom calls and the meetings that we have. But the very first lesson that I talk about in the Quickstart program is building your team. Okay. So if you're just on this call for the very first time, I'm going to dive into this. If you are just on this, if you're repeating, you've heard me say these things. But gosh, if you haven't done this yet, like make it a priority, put it at the top of your list. All right. So when the very first thing that I talk about with anyone that wants to be serious about borrowing or lending is who is on your team, specifically your real estate attorneys, Your title companies, who's drafting your documents, who's putting together your mortgages for you, who's putting together writing the promissory notes and the personal guarantees, who's doing your closings and who's doing your title searches, right? We got to have this figured out right away, right away, right? Because the ones I don't recommend having conversations with people. If you were a borrower and you wanted to use private funds to secure your real estate and to purchase real estate, I wouldn't have these conversations that I'm going to teach you today. I wouldn't even do the elevator pitch until I had this part figured out, right? Who's going to be your closing attorney? Who's going to be your title company, depending on which state you use. I'm in the state of South Carolina, so we use real estate attorneys. So I had a closing today. We sold the property, right? And we had for years I've had the same attorney, and that attorney went to took on a different career path. Like he's working more now in like the title insurance side of the business, right? And not necessarily doing closings and drafting paperwork and working for the same office I've been using. But I was introduced to a new attorney and she was fantastic. So the conversation I had with her, and this is really important, because she's trying to figure out, hey, how can I retain their business? How can I, serve these clients that bring me a lot of business? And I told her my number one thing is being able to use private money lenders. And my number one thing that I care about is the customer service process that you're going to take my private money lenders through, right? So, and we can talk a little bit about that. And she totally got it. I got it right away. She's like, if they need help and they want to use you to draft the mortgage, to draft the promissory note, to draft the personal guarantees, to do, are they going to be put through a good process? Is there someone that's going to be able to answer their questions, pick up the phone, help them make sure that they get the wire information to and from, and so on and so forth, right? And I felt really, really good about that. But that was back to the basics for us. All right, after doing it for so many years, that was back to the basics. We were going back to the basics, right? So every single Thursday, this is what we do. We practice these types of things, and we talk private money lending, right? So yeah, there it is. There's the slide. I took this right out of my Accelerator course. This is the first slide that people see when they take our program. And you can see right at the top here, when we're building our team, these are some of the folks that we want to have on our team. Okay, so and imagine this. How many of you on the call right now are brand new to real estate, right? Maybe you or let's just say like 10 deals or less, right? Just say, if that's you, say me, right? I know there's a lot of different people on the calls. Yeah, brand new. John, I love it. Thank you for your transparency and being honest. I love it. You're going to be great at borrowing money, right? All right, there we go. Now they're coming in, right? Vincent, Francisco, Clara. So if I was Clara and I was brand new to real estate and I'm talking to a private money lender, I'm on Private Money Club, I'm on the platform, I'm networking with lenders, having good conversations with people. Maybe you go to a live event that Private Money Club hosts and you're networking and doing your thing, right? And and I could teach you everything I know. If I taught you everything I know about an elevator pitch and what to say during a one-on-one meeting and all of these things, you could have a fantastic conversation with that potential lender. But if that potential lender asks Clara, hey, how many deals have you done? How many have you done? You're pretty impressive. How many have you done? Right? What is she going to say? Right? What is someone going to say if they're brand new and they haven't done anything yet, right? All right, Clara says 2. I love it. Yeah, I love it. 2. Now, here's what I would recommend. So, 2 is fantastic, right? I'm getting the ball rolling, right? I got my team set up. But here's the deal. If you're brand new, and you got to remember, if you're putting on the glasses of the lender, we don't know what they would consider to be new, right? I've talked to some people and they're like, how many deals have you done? And that number was like, oh, okay. It was like, they don't know what to know, what's a lot, right? So before going out and having these conversations, we got to build our team, right? Especially if you're trying to work on credibility, right? This is really, really important. Credibility is huge, right? I mean, and if you don't have any background or you're just getting the ball rolling, how do you build credibility? You go out and you surround yourself with excellence, right? Right. And I love Ron's comment here. Hey, I've been a realtor for a long time, but I've only done 2 fix and flips. Yeah, different lanes in the real estate industry, right? Different lanes. So what I did when I first got started, I'm 42 years old right now. Okay, I'm 42 years old. When I first got started in my 20s, I looked like I was a teenager. My self-doubt that I had was, are people going to take me seriously? So what I did, and I'm going to recommend this for everybody on this call, go out and find people that are going to do all the work for you. Go out and find your team in advance and leverage their credibility. So I went out and when I started using private money lenders, I used hard money before I got into private money. But when I knew I had to make the switch, because using hard money lenders, I couldn't scale quick enough. I didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars for the down payments based on how many deals I wanted to do. And I knew I needed an alternative source for funding. So I used hard money while I found my private money lenders, right? And once I built up my private money lender relationships, then I just leapfrogged and I haven't looked back, almost exclusive to private money. But I went out and found a real estate attorney who everyone in the community knew, liked, respected, right? Had a good name, had a big firm, and was voted the best of the best every year. I went out and I found a real estate agent that was top 1% in my area that I was going to be fixing and flipping houses. I went out and found contractors that had great reviews, licensed, insured, and the whole gamut, right? I went out and I found home inspectors to inspect my properties that were notorious for always finding things wrong with houses, right? I went out and I got an insurance agent on my team that specialized in houses like the types that I would be fixing up and flipping, okay? The list goes on and on. Financial advisor, accountant, bookkeepers, right? Mentors, coaches, right? People who have a proven track record. So then, and this would be a great exercise for you, Clara, right? If you got experience as a realtor too, which is fantastic. So if you're talking to someone who's a lender and they're like, hey, how many deals have you done? You might say, hey, look, I've got two fix and flips under my belt. But listen, before we even have this conversation, I went out and I built my team. I've got a real estate attorney who's considered the best of the best in the city where I live. I've got a team of real estate agents. I've been an agent for 25 years. I understand the markets, and I've got people working with me and below me that understand them just as well, that do a lot of my analyzations and things like that, and are out there looking for properties for me. I've got a general contractor that's been in business 20 years. I've got a home inspector that's notorious for always finding things wrong with the properties. I got the financial advisor, da 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 da. So then we can say, hey, look, I might be new to this. However, my team has over 100 years of real estate investing experience. And that might not necessarily seal the deal, but what's going to most likely, they're going to say, you know what, I'm still listening. Right? I like that. I'm still listening. And by the way, guys, here's what's cool about private money lending. If you find someone who has a great deal, this is a question for my lenders. Lenders, right? Get ready. If you find a property, or excuse me, if you find an opportunity and the deal makes sense, there's a lot of equity in there for you. So you feel like your money is going to be secured against an asset that's worth a lot more than the amount you got in the deal, right? You feel like you've got someone who has a team put together. Okay, so they're checking all these boxes for safety and risk reduction, but they're newer. They've got, 10 or less deals under their belt. What are you going to do? What can we do? We want to do the deal, right? But maybe they're a little bit less experienced. What can we do to kind of balance that out for us? What can we do to make it worth our while? What do we do? Boom, interest. John gets it. John gets it, right? Yeah, I get you pay a little more. Right? I love what you're saying. I love the team. I love the property, right? I typically lend anywhere between 10 to 15% on this one since it's the first time we're doing business together. And you're just lacking a little bit of experience in doing this yourself. I'm just going to charge you a little bit more on the interest, right? On the next one, we'll come down. And hopefully we can build a good relationship and do this over and over and over again, right? That's what's cool about this. That's what's cool about this. So get the team set up. All right, get the team set up. I could talk about that disclaimer slide for 3 days because there's a lot that could go wrong, right? There's a lot that can go right. There's a lot that can go wrong, right? We got to educate ourselves. So what's up, everybody? If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Noah Harris. I'm a real estate investor out of Columbia, South Carolina. I've been teaching and a part of the Private Money Club for a little over a year now, and I've just been a huge fan of this community, right? It's people like you that make this community what it is. And there's a need to educate, keep people sharp, keep people attuned to how to do things and kind of set the standard. And that's what helps keep this community what it is. So every single week we hop on these calls for about an hour. We do this call every Thursday, 1 o'clock. Participation is certainly encouraged. All right. If you like these sessions, if you like learning from me and you're like, I could listen, I could learn something from him. I think I want to do this. I think I want to take this to the next level I do teach a class for Private Money Club. It's called the Accelerator program. We have a new Accelerator class starting September 30th. Yeah. So in 2 weeks, if you want to hop on and enroll into that class. My friend Nick Lucas is in the chat box. So Nick, just go ahead and say hi. Oh, I see you just made a post there. If you have any questions about anything class-wise, enrolling in the course, questions about the Private Money Club, how it works, how to create a profile, click the link, schedule some time with Nick, and he can walk you through everything. And if you have any other questions, type them in the chat box. If you have a question that's specific to like, hey, Noah, I have a question for you specifically, please type your questions in the Q&A section, okay? Because the chat box gets rolling and I usually miss the questions, but I'll take a break at the 1:30 mark and then at the end of the class to answer questions that are posted in the Q&A section, all right? So PMC team is in the chat. All experience levels are welcome, whether you're getting your first deal going, your second deal, or you're on number 1,000. You're in the right place. We get people all the time in Private Money Club that are at all different levels of the spectrum when it comes to experience wise. And that's what I love about this community. Like I've never seen someone who's doing really well, not be willing to say, hey, let me help you out with that deal, right? Everyone is just super open in this group, helping one another. And it's the win-win relationships that I love the most, right? Today we did a closing. We sold a house. There's no way there, and it was with a private money loan. The lender is part of the Private Money Club. She's done many deals within the Private Money Club, and I'm really excited to be working with her. This was our first time doing deals together. And this is just an average, everyday person, right? Someone who retired from corporate America, has some money, sold a house in a state where houses are pretty high, cashed out, right? And is just trying to be smart with her resources, and she's crushing it. So and I know the numbers because I'm looking at the HUD. I had it somewhere. $113,000 loan is what she did. We paid her 10% interest, guaranteed at least 4 months worth of interest. The deal actually went 140 days, and she made $4,365.20 interest on her money in 140 days on a $113,000 loan, which is super cool, right? Which is super cool. So what's awesome about this is that was someone who never done private money loans before. This time last year, I don't think she had any of them going. Now she's got a bunch going and she's doing really good. So again, all experience levels are welcome. I like to know who's here, right? I know we've got some new folks on the call, but this is simpler than I think sometimes people make it out to be, right? Sometimes there's this weird belief system that private money lenders, like I always get friends that are like in real estate, but maybe not the fix and flip side of it, or maybe they've only used hard money lenders or their own cash or like their own home equity line of credit, something along those lines to fund their own deals. They've never used private money lenders before. So it's always funny to me when I meet people who are like, who are these private money lenders? Like, who are these people? You guys, there's 111 people on this webinar right now. That's not even including all the folks that are going to watch the replays and things like this, right? Who are interested in private money lending. So private money lenders are not these mythical creatures that appear every full moon, then they come out from behind the waterfalls or whatever. Like this isn't a Scooby-Doo episode. Private money lenders can be anyone and everyone, right? And there's no amount too small, no amount too big. And yeah, thank you for that. I find that I thought that was funny. Thank you for that. So I'm curious, let's do a roll call real quick. Who on the call right now is a private money lender, or maybe you haven't done a deal yet, but you are someone who's on this call because you're looking of ways to make a double-digit rate of return on your money and have it secured by real estate, right? Just type lender in the chat box. Let us know. Let's see. All right, cool. We got some. Perry raised his hand. I love it. Lender. Oh my gosh. See, you know what needs to happen? Because lots of times I have friends and they don't want to hop on the webinar or whatever, right? Because but if I brought them over to my house Thursday at 1 o'clock and I had them look over my shoulder and I just said, there they are, there they are, maybe then they would believe me. Aren't we odd? Aren't we a cool group, right? I love it. Inspiring to be one. Yeah, I don't know. Where else can someone make a double-digit rate of return, have it secured by real estate that's worth much more? I love it. All right, cool. On the flip side of this, where's the borrowers at? Where's the borrowers at? If you are a real estate investor, and you would love the idea of using a person as opposed to an institution or a bank to fund a real estate deal, type borrower in the chat box. Let's see. Love it. I love it. Great. And I saw Rick said, hey, I'm looking to meet a lender. I see people saying I'm looking to meet a borrower. That's what Private Money Club is. So this is a platform where borrowers can meet lenders and borrowers can post deals. We all have profiles. You can cruise through the profiles and check out who's currently lending, who's on pause, so on and so forth. Find out what types of deals and all these things. It's an absolute it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, by the way, I see a lot of you dropping really good comments in here, like Joel, for instance. Joel had a really great comment. So did Joe, borrower for manufactured home business expansion. I love it, Joe. Smart. The house that we sold today was a manufactured home. Nobody else wanted to touch it. There's no competition. Nobody's looking at it. We used a private lender to fund that deal. And it was a really nice payday for us, almost 50 grand in profit, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so make sure that your text box down there, you click that little blue box and it says everyone. So you're sending me, because a lot of you are looking to network, but you're just sending me the message. Okay, like host, you're sending it to the host, right? You want to get your messages to everybody, which is super cool and easy to do. All right, cool. Who's in the club? Let's do a roll call real quick. So Private Money Club, there's three types of people. People who are in the club, I'm a free, and they're a premium member, right? Premium members, type it in the chat box. Say premium member, or say me, that's me. Let us know you're here. Tonight, Michael and Jamie and everyone else, Patty, Jim. All right, cool. John's new, Patrick. So tonight from 6 to 8 is our monthly mastermind where Chris and Steven and the team hop on. And it's 2 hours. It's from 6 to 8. So make sure that you're on that mastermind. During this mastermind, you can absolutely, especially this week, present deals. So if you have a deal that needs funding, I'm also encouraging my Accelerator students and anyone else, for that matter, who is a Premier member. If you are a lender, I would recommend hopping on and just introducing yourself as a lender. And putting a face with the name and talking a little bit about what your goals are. And that's what we do on those third Thursday calls, okay? When is the mastermind? The mastermind is tonight from 6 to 8, every third Thursday. Here's kind of what we got going on. Yeah, you're welcome, Julie. And Nick, if you can put the link there, here's what I recommend. So let me back up. If you're a free member, is anybody a free member to Private Money Club? So we've got 116 people on the call, including myself and Nick. Okay, so I'm a big believer that everyone on this call should, at the very least, be a free member. So you can go and click on the link that Nick posts there and create a profile. And if you're going to create a profile, I recommend having Nick or Jose or one of the team members give you a tour, kind of show you around, show you how to leverage and use the Private Money Club. It comes with starting a free membership, okay? Once you're serious about that, you want to start messaging, having more messaging capabilities, you want to start attending like the third Thursday coaching sessions and things like that, just jump up to Premier, all right? A couple $100 a month is what it ends up being. Totally worth it. You're going to save that and more on fees that you would be paying to hard money lenders by using private lenders instead. That's been my experience, okay? If you're brand new and you're like, I don't even know what's going on, click the link, go check out privatemoneyclub.com, create a free profile, hop on a call with one of our team members and have them give you a tour, right? And if you're thinking about investing in real estate, I'm jealous.
You ever feel like you don't have control of your real estate business or your money? That's right. The big banks and the institutions, they're in control, right? I know you felt that before. Private Money Club puts you back in the driver's seat. As members often tell us, it's a total game changer. Join the community of like-minded lenders and borrowers by going to privatemoneyclub.com and sign up.
If you're just getting going, you got a couple deals under your belt, I'm jealous. Because when I started investing in real estate, I didn't have the Private Money Club. I had to go and have conversations with people at my local RIA. I had to go out and have conversations with anyone who was willing to listen about private money and giving them my elevator pitch. And sometimes people looked at you like you had 8 heads. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? Right? And it was frustrating, right? I got really good because I had to practice a lot on people that didn't necessarily want to hear anything about it. But within Private Money Club, everyone understands what private money lending is, at least has the gist of it, right? So they're open to the idea of hearing about your deals and your opportunities, okay? But we got to practice. So every single week on these calls, this is what we do. We work on credibility. We work on the clarity, the confidence, right? I'm all about making moves. So before we get into our foundations and things like that, I put the last slide in the middle. So before you log off, make sure you pick one of these to help you get to where you want to go. All right, so pick one. If you haven't done any of these yet, pick one. Okay, number one, I recommend everyone on this call, when you log off here, hopefully you clicked on the link that Nick put up to schedule a call with them. Everyone on this call should have a free Private Money Club profile. That's a no-brainer, right? Schedule a blueprint, have Nick or one of the team members give you a tour, make your life super easy to learn how to utilize it, right? And then jump to premium if you think it's right for you. This Thursday is our monthly mastermind, so make sure you're on that call. I have a new course starting September 30th. So we have a training, it's called Accelerator. So if you're looking to learn this information as quickly as you can, as fast as you can to get you up and running, hence the word accelerator, that might be the course for you. This is for both borrowers and lenders. Okay, I would say right now, based off of the classes that I've taught, if I were to guess, and this is just a guess, I would say about 20 to 25% of the attendance in the accelerator course is borrowers. And I would say 75% are lenders, right? And the lenders are people who are looking to learn about how to spot the red flags, how to spot the green lights, the red flags, how to ask questions, how to empower yourself to be able to make better decisions when it comes to lending on deals. And then the borrowers, there's a lot of good real estate deals out there. But if you stink at being able to present that deal, no one's ever going to hear about it. You could have the best deal ever, but if you put together a proposal and that proposal looks like an 8-year-old did it, no one's going to fund that deal, right? So the borrowers, what I really want to work on with you guys is how to communicate, how to present, how to answer the questions that are important to the lenders. And the lenders and borrowers are on the same calls. We're on the same calls together. So it's really cool to learn both sides of the coin, because if you know how to serve the lender, you're going to be a great borrower. And if you know how to serve the borrower, you're going to be a great lender. All right. So that starts September 30th for anyone that's interested. And I am so excited. We are going to Charlotte, North Carolina at November 8th and 9th for the Money Tank event. So I'm sending my community here down in South Carolina up to Charlotte to learn from the Private Money Club team. This is going to be an awesome event. Tickets are on sale now. I think it's buy one, get one 50% or something crazy like that. So is there anyone that's going to Charlotte? Type it in the chat box if I will see you in Charlotte at the track. Who's going to the Money Tank? This is like our flagship event. All right, cool. Mike's going. Oh, good, Mike. I'm glad you're going, man. That's good. Paulina, Chris. All right, Chris. Okay. All right. I thought it was your anniversary. Oh, no, that was a different weekend. All right, cool. I love it. Chris Stokes is also a great borrower who I know personally. And I think Chris Stokes is a great borrower because she goes to events like this, right? She's constantly educating herself. She's constantly networking. I love it. Joel as well. Boom. Love it, man. Good to see you guys. All right. So yeah, Accelerator starts September 30th. I don't know how many people we are at right now. Last week it was at 15. Maybe Nick has an update for us, but we're limiting this class size to 20 people. Okay. So hopefully it hasn't filled up yet. And Chris out, yeah, I love it. Chris is throwing it in there. Anytime you have an opportunity to brag about your track record, Chris, go for it, right? 100% track record with her lenders. I love it. I love it. All right, cool. Let's get into some foundation stuff, guys. Let's get into some practice. And every single week we practice, I don't know, is anybody bored of this slide? No one ever leaves. So I think you're like me and you like to train and practice all the time, right? What's interesting, my son is playing in a hockey tournament this weekend, and tonight we have practice. And at practice, we are going to practice fundamentals. We're not doing anything fancy, right? We're going to practice game-like scenarios so that when they're in the tournament this weekend, they're sharp at these things, right? We're not practicing twirling the puck around our stick. We're practicing skating hard, right? Skating hard, crashing the net, right? So we do the same thing here every single week when it comes to business and private money lending. So this is an elevator pitch. This is the framework for the elevator. Now, how I teach elevator, for those of you who are on the call who are new, I teach the elevator like not in the tense of in the scenario where it's like 30 seconds or less. Like sometimes I think people hear elevator pitch, like that's the stigma. Elevator pitch has to be quick. And what I'm about to share with you can be done in 30 seconds, right? Once you practice, it can be done in 30 seconds. There's going to be times where that's all you need, right? And then there's going to be other times where a person isn't ready to have you take them up all of the floors of the elevator. And here's what I mean by that. I'm going to teach you different floors, but when we are doing our elevator pitch and we're teaching people and educating others around the topic of private money and what is private money lending, I'm not forcing it on anyone. No one I talk to feels cornered. No one I talk to is like, looking at their watch, like how long is this elevator going to last? I feel like I'm being pitched right now. I feel like someone's trying to sell me something, right? Never have I had any type of feedback like that. And I'm a big believer that it's not us who's pushing the button on that elevator. In our theoretic elevator, who should be pushing the buttons, right? If I'm the borrower and I want to meet more lenders and I'm having the conversations with people, right? My elevator pitch, I'm on one of my floors. Who's pushing the buttons? Type it in the chat box. Who's pushing the buttons? Am I pushing the button, or is my potential lender pushing the button? What do you think? Type it in the chat. Who's pushing the buttons? All right, Robert said I'm pushing the buttons. I might push the first one that opens the door. Maybe. Probably not. Yeah, Renetta, I love it. Accelerator class student Renetta says the lender pushes the buttons. The lender pushes the buttons. Yeah, the lender. See, I'm never going to talk about something unless that person wants to talk about it, especially when it comes to money. I don't need it. I don't need the money. I got the private money club. I've got more lenders than Christy and I know what to do with. My full-time job is finding deals because I got too many lenders, right? That's the mentality that we have. If people understand and look at you as a way to help them, oh my gosh, how things change, right? So when someone asks, here's just a common scenario of how we get that elevator door open, right? And it happens all the time. One thing that's cool is if you practice this enough, things just become predictable. You can predict how people are going to act and react. So if I'm having conversations with folks, average everyday people, like this weekend, we're going to a hockey tournament. If I'm talking to one of the other parents, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask them what they do for a living, right? I don't know everybody on the team yet, all the parents. Hey, what do you do for a living? Tell me a little about what you do for a living. And I'm going to listen. I'm going to take mental notes. I'm going to ask engaging questions, right? I'm going to find out what their goals are, how much longer they plan on doing what they're doing, what type of education that they had to get in order to do what they're doing, what that was like, right? I'm going to let them talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Now, keep in mind, I am genuinely curious as to what other people do for a living. Like, I find it completely fascinating what other people do for a living, All right. So if you're like me, ask the questions. Hey, what do you do for a living? Now, what's common? If I ask someone what do you do for a living? What's common courtesy? What's human nature? What do we know is automatically going to happen? Type it in the chat box. If I ask someone what they do for a living, what's going to automatically happen? When they're done talking, what are they going to do? They're going to ask us. Yeah, they're going to ask us, right? It's human. They're going to ask back. I know it's going to happen. So that's the door. That's the elevator door opening up, right? And one of the best things that I've learned that seems to work is I always reference the television shows. I always say, hey, you ever seen the TV shows where people flip houses? And I've met one girl. She was like 20 years old, and she had no idea what I was talking about. I was doing like a seminar and like a workshop thing in a brewery, and she's like, what's HGTV? I was like, okay, we're moving on from that. Anyone else? And then like all the 99 other hands went up, right? It's relatable. And so when I say, have you ever seen the TV shows where people flip houses? I see their eyes get big. I see them smile. I see intrigue, right? And they want to ask more about it. And I pointed out, I say, yeah, I saw your eyes got a little bit big there. Like, if you ever watched, you like those shows? Like, you like investing in real estate? And most of the time, they've tried it. They've dabbled in it. A parent, a grandparent, an uncle had a rental property or a neighbor across the street, or they've always wanted to do it. There's intrigue. Right. And so lots of times they'll say something along the lines of, man, I've always wanted to do that. I've always been curious about that. And I like to find out why they haven't done that yet. So something, if it goes that way, this is the example in this scenario where I'll share with you guys. I'll ask them, hey, why haven't you yet? Why haven't you done that yet? Seems like you're interested in real estate. Have you thought about investing in real estate yourself? And usually if they haven't, it's usually because of the time, some circumstances, their career right now, they're focused on their career, things like this. They feel like they have to be handy. They have to be like have contractor knowledge to do real estate. Maybe they feel like they have to be a millionaire, right? Or have a bunch of money to be able to invest in real estate, which we know isn't accurate. So it's interesting to see and hear people's reactions, but usually it's the same 5 things. And so then I kind of say, hey, well, let me ask you a question. What if you didn't have to pick up the hammer, if you didn't have to take time away from your current job, but you could still invest in real estate in some capacity, would you be interested in that? And if they say yes, I'd be like, all right, cool. I'm going to wait for them to push the button. Yeah, tell me more, Noah. What do you mean, right? How could I do that? Is that what you do, right? They are now pushing the button. I know what they're going to ask and do, and that opens the door up to the elevator, and we can walk in it together, all right? And then the next, I don't usually go in depth on these calls here, but that's kind of how I get to the elevator. That's the walk in the lobby, right? And then once we're in the elevator, we got some floors to cover here, right? And we're gonna go through them with you real quick. I have a few free and clear performing rentals. I'm looking to scale my real estate investing business and marketing, VAs, lead gen, etc. Instead of locking up a rental for 30 years via mortgage, which I almost did a few months ago, why not give the same interest rate to an individual for less time? Win-win scenario. How do I present my business model to a private money lender? I love this question. So this question is a great question. And he's saying, hey, look, I like rental properties. And you're kind of talking about fix and flips, but gosh, would someone be interested in doing rental properties as a private money lender? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. But here's what we got to work on. It's all about how you present the opportunity. All right. It's all about how you present the opportunity. So if I have a fix and flip opportunity, I'm going to present the opportunity like this. Like, hey, we pay our lenders. Let me get to the elevator pitch and I'll show you what I mean. But it's all about how you present yourself and the opportunity. Let me ask you guys a question. What do you think are the benefits to a lender for funding a rental property? What do you think are the benefits to a lender for funding a rental property? By the way, banks have the tallest buildings in every single city. They've got all the money. There's a reason for that. Okay? And if we can get people to realize that if they start thinking and acting like the bank, then that person can get results, right? That's the goal, right? The goal is to think and act like a bank. and to make interest like a bank, right? So what are some of the benefits for lenders to fund a rental property deal? What do you think? David said equity partner. You could set it up like that, I guess. Yeah, you could set it up like that. Chris says long term, keeping their money, making money. Ooh, I love this one. Joe said cash flow. Cash flow. I love it. I love it. And if there's anything else, type it in the chat box. But this is, we gotta listen. We gotta listen for what people want, right? We gotta listen to what people want. And then when I'm presenting my deals to folks, I'm using the same words that they want. Hey, I want to be smart with my money. Hey, this deal right here, smart. This is, whoever does this is going to be smart with their money. Hey, I'm looking for some passive income. Hey, you know what's really cool is we can set you up on monthly interest payments where you can get some of that mailbox money. I'm looking for cash flow. This is what we can do is we can set you up on monthly interest payments where you can help you create that monthly cash flow that you're looking for, right? So whatever a person's goals are, we can turn right around and present the opportunities to them, right? That's what's beautiful about private money lending. Whatever a person's goals are, all I got to do is just structure my loan to help that person meet their goals, right? So, but we gotta put people in the mindset that they are thinking and acting like a bank. So I tell people, hey, and here's the best way to do that I found. If I'm talking to someone and they don't, in the private money club, it's different, right? People understand what this is. So we don't necessarily have to do elevator pitches that much, right? Because everyone already knows what a private money loan is. But if I'm how many of you right now, this is a fun question to ask. How many of you right now know someone that would make a great private money lender, but they just don't know it yet? Like you have in your mind the person that would be fantastic at this, right? Maybe they've got some resources and you feel like you can help them make a better rate of return by lending it to you. Okay, Marilyn says, hand raise. Oh yeah, that's me, right? I love it. I love it. I love the question. I love it also here. Someone said less risky than flipping. Could be. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, so one of the things that I like to do with folks who have never heard of private money lending before, but I think that they would become great private money lenders, is explain private money lending in a way that they can relate to. So if that person owns a property, I'm going to ask them, hey, do you own the house that you live in? And if they say yes, I'm going to say, fantastic. When you bought that house, did you have to go to a real estate attorney or title company for your closing? Like, when you bought the property and they gave you the keys. Yeah. Did you sign a bunch of paperwork? Yes. Did you go and do you have a mortgage for the house that you live in? Yes. Okay. So you have a mortgage, you sign paperwork promising to pay, right? There's paperwork that you sign that outline how much interest and things like that. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, great. And you got insurance on the property before you close, like you called your State Farm agent and they got added and everything, and they're like, yes, yes, yes. We do the same exact thing. So in my real estate business, instead of going to Wells Fargo like you did for your loan, I go to individuals just like you. And just like you signed for the house that you live in, a mortgage, a promissory note, you're got everything set up with the insurance, and they did title searches and all this stuff to make sure you're buying a house free of liens and things like that, and marketable title. We do the same thing, and watch the light bulbs start to go off. So when I'm educating people, I'm telling them, hey, all you have to do is just think and act like a bank does, right? But what's crazy, because now they're thinking, okay, second floor, right? Now I'm waiting. I'm going to explain to them, hey, yeah, just like a bank. And I kind of leave a cliffhanger, and I say, we pay a crazy amount of interest. We pay a crazy amount of interest. How many of you on the call right now want to know how much interest I pay? Type it in the chat box if you want to know how much interest I pay. This is my business. Everybody's raising their hand, right? And saying yes. And the people that you talk to are going to do the same thing. They're going to want to know. So if you leave them with a cliffhanger, who's pushing the button? Who's pushing the button? Right? They are, right? They're pushing the button. So leave them with a cliffhanger. If they want to talk about it, great. They can ask, well, what do you pay? I'm curious, right? All right, let's go up to the next floor. If they're not interested, they're not interested. It's okay. Go back to watching your kid playing the hockey game or whatever, right? Now, Glenn, it's nothing crazy. It's nothing crazy, right? But this is what I do. So I would figure out, if I was a borrower on this call right now, I'd figure out what you can pay, like what your business model is going to be. This is something that I help you out with in the Accelerator course, like figuring out what to say, how to say it, what type of real estate is going to be your niche, what type of areas you're going to have a business plan, right? That's part of your deal. But for us, we pay anywhere from 8 to 12% annualized interest. Each loan opportunity is unique. Now, and I love this because Jamie did a great job presenting on Monday's Money Club Monday call, and she gave a spread as well, right? A variance, right? So I don't say, hey, this is what we do. We pay 8%, we pay 10%. I like to do a spread, and I like to leave the door open. But there's this thing, and it's a really powerful, I don't know, psychological thing. It's called optimism bias. Right? Does anyone like have optimism bias like me? Like I always think I'm going to get the best, I'm going to do the best, everything's going to be perfect. Optimism bias. So when I say 8 to 12%, automatically everyone's mind goes where? To the 12%. Right? They're thinking about that 12%. They're driving home right now after I'm having a conversation with them. That's all they're thinking about is 12%. Because we've been taught that 12% is ridiculous. Right? On the news, it's so stupid. Everyone's interest rates, blah. Doesn't matter to us. Doesn't matter. You know, if I flip a house, especially fix and flip investors, right? I shouldn't say it doesn't matter because it does a little bit, because we got to plan ahead and say, okay, you know, we got to get with our real estate agent and make sure we're pricing this right when we go to sell. We want to make sure it's affordable. Our target buyer can afford this home. Is it priced accurately, right? Of course, right? I mean, honestly, when I see interest rates go down, I think, oh, I'm just going to jack up the prices of the houses I'm flipping. But that's just me. But interest rates we don't necessarily care too much, but we've been taught by the news that it needs to be 3% or 5%, right? That's like if I'm buying my own house. You guys, if I'm buying a new primary residence, I'm using a mortgage, then yes, of course, I want to be in the 3.54% or whatever, right? Of course. But if I'm buying a house, I'm fixing and flipping it, I'm doing it in 4 months, it doesn't matter to me if I'm paying 10%, 12%, 14%. It really doesn't make a whole lot of a difference at the end of the day. Maybe a couple $1,000 difference in profit. Who cares, right? But if we tell them, hey, we pay anywhere from 8 to 12%, gosh, that's fantastic for someone. That's fantastic. Think about what people are making in a savings account right now. It's crazy, right? So, and again, during the accelerator class, I teach how to have one-on-one conversations with people and how to ask them about what their goals and good questions to ask to figure out how you can serve them, things like this. But I like to do the spread because guess what? If I'm talking to someone and they're like, man, I just inherited this money. I've got it sitting in a savings account. It's really not doing anything. My banker keeps wanting me to put it in a CD at like whatever crappy percent they are right now. I'm not even sure because I don't care. I'm listening. If they say 3%, I'm like, oh, okay, great. This person would be so excited to make 9% on their money. That's a 6% difference, right? So that's why it's important to listen. Now, if I'm talking to someone who's really financially savvy, like Chris Noggle, right, the godfather of the Private Money Club, I can't go to Chris and say, hey, Chris, how would you like to fund this deal? It's 8%. He's going to balk at it. He's going to be like, dude, I don't even look at anything that's less than 15, right? Because he's super, super savvy. He's got his money working in different buckets that are much higher. So that's why I like to do the spread, because then I feel like we're talking to everybody. But when you're on the drive home, and no, if you're newer, you can expect to pay, from my experience, much higher. You can expect, I might change yours to go from 10 to 14%. We pay anywhere from 10 to 14%. But the idea here is now people are thinking about that interest rate. You got them excited, right? You got them excited, and this is the best cliffhanger here. I don't even ask them anything. I don't even say anything else after this, because once you tell them you pay them a double-digit rate of return, like 10, 12, 14%, whatever you decide for your business, they're going to ask you, well, what's next? How does this work, right? On the flip side of that, to play devil's advocate, right? We talked about the optimism bias, right? On the opposite of that is this too good to be true? So one of the things that is imperative during one of our stops on the elevator, okay? And again, thank you, Nick, for posting that. Guys, if you have any questions about Accelerator class, please don't send it just to me. Don't send it to the host. Just click the link there, and you can click on the link that Nick put there, and he can help answer any of your questions about signing up for that, okay? So here's what we provide. Now, this isn't everything, okay? But from a conversation standpoint, showing that we think and act like a bank in the sense of we want documents that help secure our funds, have everything in writing. This isn't a handshake deal, things like this. This is what we ask for as lenders, and this is what we provide as borrowers. Promissory note, right? Outlining the terms of the loan, how you're getting paid, where you're getting paid, when it's due, right? All the information about what you and the lender and the borrower agreed upon. We're going to provide them with a mortgage. We're going to sign a mortgage or a deed of trust that's going to get recorded, right? By the way, these are drawn up by real estate attorneys, right? Title companies are doing our closings, like professionals, right? You guys get this. I'm big on personal guarantees as well. So lots of times you might be lending to an LLC, right? Real estate investor has a business, but it's also important that since you've been talking to the person, that you put the person on the hook as well. So I always provide personal guarantees in addition to the promissory note and things of that we're doing through our LLC. And then insurance. I always get our lenders set up as a loss payee on the insurance, right? And so this should come off the tip of your tongue like you're telling someone your phone number, right? If I were to have you practice anything, lenders, flip the coin over, just put on a different hat. The conversation's the same. Hey, I would love to do business with you. Here's what we do. We lend anywhere from 8 to 12%. Each loan opportunity is unique. I just need to find out about you, find out about your property, and get to know a little bit about your business model and how things work. And let's start the relationship. Let's get that going, right? I also require a promissory note. I require a mortgage. I require a personal guarantee, and I want to make sure that I'm listed on the insurance as an additional payee, right? Or as a lost payee. So you're getting this stuff set up, right? In Accelerator, there's some other things that we're going to ask for that I talk about, such as like a lender's title policies and things like this. But this is going to show them that you know what you're doing. It's going to show them that you're thinking about them, right? You're not this like me monster that's like, oh, if I get your money, I'm going to make 50 grand and I'm going to be financially independent and you get to make 10% along the way. It's not like that, right? If you want to get great at borrowing money, make sure that you put your lenders on a pedestal and say, hey, look, thank you for trusting us. Thank you for wanting to do business with us. This means a lot. Like, and I'm being dead serious. Like, we do these things to protect you, your loans, things like that. We always do a promissory note outlining the terms of the loan. We always provide a mortgage or deed of trust, depending on the state we're in, and have those documents written by attorneys. We always have a personal guarantee. I always list you on the insurance. I get all of these items out, make sure all of these items are sent to you to review to make sure everything looks good on your end, right? Or you can hire your own person to do this for you. It doesn't make a difference to us, but we put you first, right? We put our lenders first. And then, like I said, like I've been saying, everything is prepared and recorded by a licensed professional. Like, please just don't go online and Google a mortgage and then think that you can use that. You're just hurting you're hurting everyone. You're hurting yourself, you're hurting the lender, you're hurting the seller now the deal is probably going to fall through because you're trying to be cheap and not hire a professional to do things the right way, right? Everything is recorded. What makes this great is now there's a lien on the property. So the real estate investor cannot refinance. They cannot sell the property without making sure that you get your money back plus your interest or whatever you agreed upon. Okay. It's good stuff. You guys having a good time. So we practice this every single week, right? This is the vibe. If you're into it, I can't wait to see you next week. But make a move. Okay. Make a move. Where else can a person put the money to work and have it secured by a real estate deal that's worth much more, right? Where else can a person not go to a bank to fund a real estate deal and get all the money that they need for the purchase and the rehab? You know what's crazy? Like when I'm funding deals that I'm buying, the conversation is with my lenders is never around like loan to value. There's some loan to value talk. Like I share with them what the values of the properties are, what the value of the properties are going to be once the work's completed, right? But when you have good deals and you have a good presentation and you have your team in place and you've done the work up front to learn how to do this the right way, and it just makes everything so much easier. I've never had someone like, here's what I'm trying to say. People seem to want to put as much money to work in my deals as they possibly can. So if I'm talking to some, with hard money lending, if I'm using a hard money lender, I'm typically going to have to bring, 10%, 20% to the table in the form of a down payment for every deal that we do. If I'm doing a $300,000 property and my goal is to do 3 or 4 of them at a time, that can be a good chunk of cash, right? Outlaid over several deals. Whereas if I have good relationships with my private money lenders and the deals make sense, where I've got a bunch of equity in these properties, I can come in and say, hey, look, we're all the money we're allowing people to lend up to this much, right? You can't lend more than this much. It's just a different perspective, right? All right, so here we go. Make a move. Create your PMC profile. If you haven't already, go and do it. What are we waiting for? Schedule a blueprint appointment with Nick, right? Have him give you the red carpet tour. Have him show you around and show you behind the scenes of how other people are leveraging Private Money Club. We are currently in, this is an old slide, we're currently in a mobile home take action challenge. The next one will be, there will be another one before the end of the year. The next accelerator class, if you're interested, starts September 30th. Space is limited. I am limiting it to 20 people moving forward. Last week we had 15. I'm not sure how many people we have now. Money Tank event in Charlotte is going to be awesome. It's going to be at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. VIP is sold out, but just get in the building. The networking that happens there, it's cool to meet people face to face that you've been talking to and working with. All right, here's my little process. Here's my little process. So in Private Money Club, a couple questions. Yeah, hit us up with questions. If you want to go to the accelerator, click the link or give Nick a call right now and he can help with that. Tuition varies depending on if you're a premier member and things like that. This is what I do. So in Private Money Club, if I have a deal, I post the deal in the forum. Or excuse me, I post a deal under deals. There's a whole deal section where you can look through all the opportunities that are there. I post in the deal section as much information as I can provide about the property, and then I also post in our forum section. So I got it posted in 2 spots. In addition to that, I'm also presenting on Mondays to the group my opportunity, and then if there's a third Thursday that falls and I have an opportunity, I can present the third Thursday and get in front of so many people, right? If you're presenting your deals here to a group of however, I mean, that's got to be, I don't know, I don't want to say thousands, but a lot of people are got eyes on your deals. If you're also presenting on the webinars on Monday that the premier members can do, what's cool is that gets recorded and sent out to everybody that's in Private Money Club. So it could be hundreds of people in addition to that see your deal, as opposed to just the people that were on the webinar. Anyways, what I do is I send people to my website. So I send them to my website. There's a video of me explaining how it works working with us. There's outlines of how it works working with us. And then I invite people to hop on my calendar to schedule a call. So then they hop on the calendar, they schedule a call, and then I do a one-on-one session with them where I just take them through my little system, ask them about what their goals are, and just see if we like each other, see if it makes sense. Right? And this works. This works for me, right? This helps. If we don't have conversations with people, there's no business. It's private money lending's relationship-based lending. So we got to make sure that we're building relationships. Go figure, right? All right, guys, I'm signing off. I think that's it. We covered this a few weeks ago. These are some of our older slides. So here's the moves. Make a move, right? If I don't see you next week, I'm assuming I'm going to see you in Charlotte. And if I don't see you in Charlotte, I'm assuming I'm going to see you in the accelerator. All right, we got lots of options to continue learning at all different levels of accessibility and education. Take advantage of some of all of them if you can, but just pick one to keep the momentum going. This has been an awesome class. You guys are great. Thank you for all the participation, and I will see you next Thursday. I'll see you next Thursday no matter what. All right, take care, everybody.